Hello, friends. Tina here. I'm coming on today to share a session with you, which I think is important and very interesting because we've been seeing this kind of manipulation more and more lately. This session, this BQH session, was with a 71-year-old female. She came to us. Wanting to explore the possibility of her life being manipulated and influenced by outside beings. She started questioning things and having more insight and revelations after being involved in the Paradise, California fires a few years ago. She actually had visions of that fire before it happened. Um, but still found herself caught up in those fires. And on her way out, she thought she actually wasn't going to make it. She had to drive through thick and dark smoke. And when she spoke of that, it was almost as if this smoke was like its own entity. And when she came out on the other side of that smoke from the fire and actually escaped with her life, she started having downloads and insights and revelations about the manipulation and the darkness that is occurring here on Earth and how deep it really goes. And so she was working on a project. She's a retired spiritual counselor. She's investigated spirituality, religion, metaphysics, philosophy, all of her life. She's been dedicated to those topics, and she was working on a project, and she just couldn't bring herself to finish this project because she was feeling the possibility of some kind of manipulation that has happened in her life. And she didn't want to release this project with any kind of distorted energy attached to it. So before she was able to finish this project, she wanted to investigate certain mystical and strange experiences that she had throughout her life, starting at 4 years old. So we've been seeing this often lately, how children are being groomed from a very young age, starting around 3, 4, 5 years old, sometimes even younger, by these beings and influenced in what directions to go throughout their life. So she had an experience when she was 4 where she remembers her whole room being filled with these geometric shapes. The whole room was lit up with these shapes, and she wasn't scared of it or anything. But the memory always stuck with her. And she was always curious about that, what was behind that. And you'll see that the session opens up with that memory. And we go deeper into that to see actually what was behind that. And what's interesting is how it unfolds throughout her life, how these beings that were behind that start to, so first they visit her in her room at night, then they start coming in dreams, then later on they're taking her in her astral body into other time spaces and dimensions. And we learn in this session how traveling like that, how them taking her out of her body when she's in a really, really deep and unconscious sleep, how when the energy body travels in that way, it can create physical symptoms for the body and the physical 3D reality here and now. And also the struggles with emotional things like depression and anxiety and those types of things. There's a lot that is happening in the background with humans. And this is why I'm sharing this session with you publicly, because thankfully our beautiful client Shay has agreed to share this, because I think it's so it so well demonstrates the extent of influence and manipulation that is happening with humans right now. And it's not just Shay, it's happening with many, many, if not all of us to some degree or another. And there is definitely some kind of controlling force or forces that are working here energetically to manipulate humanity. It's almost like an astral MK Ultra type manipulation and control that we're seeing here. And we've been seeing it over and over again. And I think it's just so important for us to know and to consider and to look back at our own lives and to see if there's anything strange that has occurred. So we'll see with Shay that over the course of her life, she was being pushed into a certain direction. And that direction was actually spirituality and spiritual topics, metaphysics, philosophy, religion. She was pushed in that direction. And when she did not fall in line with the life that they had set up for her, she would experience a lot of angst and confusion. And so I think it was really brave. And you'll see in this session that she's struggling a lot with coming to the understanding that she was actually manipulated. Because before this session, I don't want to use the word manipulated, influenced, we'll say. Because before this session, she wasn't really sure. She had a feeling that something wasn't quite right, but she wasn't positive. So it's like during this session, she's deeply coming into the understanding that she was influenced and maybe not all of her choices and decisions were actually of her own free will. And I think this is true for many of us. And it's a really difficult pill to swallow. It's a really difficult thing to admit to yourself, especially because she was working on this project, a spiritual project that she wanted to put out to the public to assist humanity. And she was at a stall. She was stalling with a project because of the feeling that something was off. So we see that she eventually comes to the realization that yes, it was being manipulated, and we get to understand why they would push certain people into spiritual topics, because they want us to share the frequency of their messages while still keeping us stuck and bound to earth in a way. So it's more about, I think, more about what they, not necessarily what they tell us or the distortion and the truth of what they tell us, but really what they leave out. So it's like lying by omission, right? So what was really interesting about this case was that right after this session, I got a notification from Reddit. The poster's name is Fiona Harris, and she posted in a thread called Experiencers. And I have to tell you that this post is so similar to Shay, her life, and what we explored in this session that I have to read it to you. Because as you listen to the session, you will pick up on all the similarities here. So Fiona says that the post is titled Silvery Gray Beings Showed Me That Everything is Always Okay. She says this happened many years ago, back in the mid-90s, about a year into my spiritual awakening. I had been meditating a fair bit and had just gotten my first degree in Reiki. I dreamt that every night while I was asleep, I was going aboard a craft to spend time with two ETs to receive training in spiritual matters. I knew that I wasn't the only one doing this. There were many others doing the same, and more than likely, most of us were unaware of the fact. These beings were male and made of silvery gray sparkles, almost a pewter color. They both had long beards and hooded robes. They looked human to me, very thin, very ancient, quite stern. I couldn't see the outside of the craft, but I could see the inside room we were standing in. There was a large window, and I could see the dark sky and many, many stars outside. So here we have the connection with Shay's case, also seeing these silvery gray male beings, exactly as described here. She did not see beards or robes, at least that she said in the session, but she said their eyes were very, very dark and she didn't like to look at them. So in you'll see why as you listen to the session and how her eyes were affected by this. So Fiona goes on, this one night the beings wanted to tell me how proud they were of me. I assumed for taking the Reiki course or maybe the meditation. They had a gift to give me. We're giving you a pearl of wisdom, they told me as they handed me what looked like a giant black pearl. It was the size of a cantaloupe and felt soft, pliable, and alive. The second they handed it to me, I knew everything, every single thing that could be known, past, present, future. Not only did I know everything, I could see that every single thing, every single person was connected and that we were always okay. So this is interesting because we see in Shay's session almost the same thing was happening with her. They took her into this room where they were showing her these different stones and crystals and explaining to her how energy works. So it's almost the same thing. And what's also interesting is the symbol of the black pearl has been coming up a lot in sessions. And it can mean really all different things from like a bad omen to um, deep wells of wisdom. So it could mean a million different things. So Fiona goes on and says, the feeling I had seeing what I was seeing, knowing what I was knowing was a feeling of pure joy, safety, love, connection, and ecstasy. Tears were pouring out of my eyes. In this moment of pure joy, I started to wake up. As I became more conscious, my brain was unable to hold on to or comprehend the massive amount of information I'd been given. In seconds, it was all gone, intangible. I cried out to the beings not to let me forget, but it was too late. So this is something that I really have a problem with is the memory wiping and not allowing us to retain this information. Because if we are working with or for these beings, at the very least, we should have a conscious memory of it and have the free will to decide whether we want to continue that work or not. But they don't give us that choice. They fully manipulate us and take our memories from us. So, and we see that with Shay as well. She had no memories of working with these beings until this session. So Fiona goes on and says, but the beings left me with a symbol to represent all the knowledge of connection. As I opened my eyes, instead of my dark bedroom, I could see the universe with trillions of stars. Floating in the middle of the universe was a three-dimensional geometric shape made of sparkling silver lines. It was intricate, shifting, and morphing. Exactly what Shay sees in her 4-year-old memory in her bedroom. And the color silver stands out. The geometric shapes, the silver color, all the same. She says, I couldn't see the two gray beings anymore, just the shape. However, the beings were there, close to me. They affirmed that no one should ever be afraid of anything. There should be no fear. So also we'll see in Shay's session, she couldn't see the beings, but she felt them there. She felt their presence. Fiona says, my bedroom window was open. From somewhere outside, I could hear music. It sounded like an angelic space choir. I lay for what felt like hours watching the morphing silver shape, listening to the beautiful music, crying. As the sun rose, the music faded away, as did the image. The feeling of connection and lack of fear stayed with me for weeks afterwards, possibly months. I'm sure that people thought I was nuts. I was unable to stop telling people, my friends, coworkers, loved ones, strangers, about my experience. I wanted every single human on the planet to feel the way that I felt. So, on the surface, this looks like a really positive experience, right? And that's what these beings do the best. They know us inside and out better than we know ourselves. They know how to manipulate us. They know how to make us feel a certain way. As we'll see in Shay's session, she also wasn't afraid of them. Like she felt good in their presence as in that 4-year-old memory. She feels good in their presence because they can mask their frequency and they know how to manipulate our sensory systems to make us feel certain ways. We see this very often that it's what people would term the love bomb. So Fiona says, I saw the gray beings one more time about 2 years later. It was a brief visit and very magical, though nothing close to the first. Of late, I've started reaching out to them, asking to have a conscious experience with them if they're still working with me. I'm hopeful that they will show up. So, so this post alone, she even says it in the beginning. I know it was more than just me. Many of us were there working with these beings. So it really demonstrates how humanity is being manipulated by these beings. And whether these experiences are initially positive or not, they are manipulating the way we experience them. They're manipulating us in our dreams. They're taking us from our bodies against our free will when we're in a deep unconscious sleep, as we'll see in Shay's session. They're taking us through time and dimensions, which then has an effect on our physical body when that energy body comes back in. There's so many, uh, I don't even want to say unintended effects because I'm not sure if they're intended or not, but there's so many effects on our human lives here that these beings cause without our conscious consent. Because of course, at 4 years old, you cannot consent. You cannot consent to working with a group of beings at 4 years old. And even as an adult, they don't tell you the whole story. They don't explain to you. They're master manipulators and liars. So, I'm not here to convince anyone of anything, but I think when you look in from the outside and see how this is all playing out from the time that we're really, really young and unable to consent, and then going throughout our adult lives, um, to me, this is a complete violation of free will and a manipulation of humanity on a mass scale. And so most of the control and manipulation is happening behind the scenes. It's like an astral MK Ultra type programming. Like we see in our 3D world, the control and manipulation that's happening in the 3D, most of that is actually happening on an energetic level while we're asleep, while we're dreaming, like in those states of unconsciousness, we are being manipulated. And then that's coming forward and playing out in the 3D. This is really where the control structures are. And I don't know this for sure, but I posit that these are the beings that are also behind reincarnation and the life reviews and those kinds of things. So what's also interesting about this is I was watching a video recently, and I will post that down below. So it's about a UFO researcher. And in this video, he talks about how in the 60s or 70s, I think, a UFO researcher had asked the AI, an AI. It was, I guess, just like a burgeoning AI. So kind of old and clunky about the connection between beings that we call aliens, aliens, cryptid, paranormal type experiences, ghosts, all of those kinds of things. And the AI answered that they all had the same source. They all came from the same source. And so this researcher did this experiment in the current time with the AI that we have now and asked it the same question, and it came up with the same answer. They all come from the same source. So it makes me wonder what that source is. And where are these beings really coming from? And what is their interest in Earth? What is their interest in humans? And why are they manipulating us? What is the purpose? Yeah. What is the purpose? What is the point of it all? So I'll leave you with that. And I hope you enjoy this session. Really big thank you to Shay for allowing us to share it with you. We're going to do some further investigating into this next month, May. But just a quick tidbit about the sound. As always, our sound's a little bit off because we can never get headphones to work for sessions like this. They are always interfering with the technology. So the sound, I suggest like listening with headphones and putting the captions on. The sound's a little bit difficult to hear, but not too bad. The cadence is a little bit slow, so you can also increase the playback speed. I did edit a good portion of the long pauses and silences. As you'll see, Shay's pretty deep in pretty deep in relaxation and also experiencing the various energies that are coming towards her through these memories. So um yeah, there's a lot going on energetically. They certainly did not want us to do this session. There was so much interference. This was actually the second time we had scheduled this session. The first time there were a bunch of things that happened that prevented the session from happening first time. This time the session was almost prevented because there were um, circumstances happening with Shay's children. Karen and I were both getting attacked. I actually was attacked like up to a week, like for the whole week after this session. Um, so yeah, they don't want us to know how we are being manipulated and who's behind it for sure. And I think we're close to really at least exposing some of this information and bringing it to light so that more people can know and understand that this is happening. This is really happening. So, thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this session. I think that's all I need to say for backstory. And yeah, I'm sending you all my love. Thanks so much. So, when you're ready, just tell me what you're noticing there.
It's dark in this room.
Mm-hmm.
I am still awake. I
Mm-hmm.
have trouble sleeping.
What else are you noticing here? How are you feeling?
I don't like being alone in the room.
Tell me more about that. Why is it that you don't like being alone in the room?
I think I see things,
What kind of things do you see?
faces and figures.
How do these faces and figures feel to you?
I don't like it. I don't feel safe.
I don't feel safe. So you're awake here in the dark in your bedroom, feeling like you can't sleep. And let's see what happens next here. What happens next?
I pretend to speak French or another language. Helps to distract me. Something happens in the room.
What happens? What are you noticing?
It the room lights up. I see shapes, colors, but I'm not frightened.
What kind of shapes and colors do you see?
It fills the room. Squares, circles, and triangles. They're moving
hmm
and changing bright colors,
What colors do you see?
mainly silver and gold
Mm.
and pink and brighter colors like yellow, white, blue, purple, green, changing. I'm entertained. I fall asleep.
hmm I want you to just drift up above that body and observe what's happening in the room as you fall asleep. What do you notice?
Energies in the room.
What does it look or feel like?
They're not feel free energies, but they're not.
Remembering that you're safe. Can disconnect a little bit.
I felt the energy sweep through my body.
Where is this energy coming from?
From them,
Who is them?
light source, beings of light. They don't mean me harm.
What do they look like?
Like tubular lights, like a bulb, like a tubular light bulb. And this it grows softer and brighter, depending on the energy that they're releasing. Okay, they're doing it again.
What is it exactly that they're doing?
Sending this energy. God,
What is the purpose of them sending this energy through your body?
changing
hmm
molecular DNA
For what purpose?
enhancement,
And how is this enhancement? How does that affect the physical form?
increases, or expands something, the mind or neural pathways.
It expands the neural pathways. And why would these beings find this important to expand your neural pathways? What is the purpose of that?
Ability to create more manifest
What do they wish for you to create and manifest?
messages,
Messages. Very good. You're doing a really good job. Tell me more about the messages that they want you to create.
humanity, to understand why they're here. What? What?
Taking a nice deep breath, just breathing.
Bring clarity to people.
To bring clarity to people.
Yes. But
What are you noticing?
didn't understand until much later at 12. I think they came back.
Tell me about that. What happened at 12 years old? Let's moving into
No,
that memory.
something changed at 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um, intuition became much stronger. I began exploring, very curious, researching, understanding
What was it that you were trying to understand?
spiritual religion, science, philosophy, metaphysical. So exploring things like self-hypnosis, numerology, colors, symbols, dreams.
Was this something that was influenced by these beings?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I changed.
Doing a really good job. Just taking a nice deep breath. Let's pull forward the memory of what happened here at 12 years old. You will see clearly what exactly happened here. Allowing that memory to come forward. What exactly happened here that changed you?
I think they returned
Mm-hmm. What are you noticing?
during sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Paula spoke to me in a dream.
What did they say?
Oh,
Take a nice deep breath.
their energy is so strong.
Mm-hmm. Tell them to
Okay.
tell them to step back from you.
Okay. Okay. I said to pursue spiritual subjects. It was time.
Mm-hmm. Do they say why they want you to do this? Tell them to tell them to step back from you. Don't allow them in your energy field.
Step back. Step back.
Why is it that they want you to pursue spiritual subjects?
To send out their message, their words, their desire to help humanity. So I remember going to my mother and telling her that I thought I should be a nun. And she said, no, you will have more of my grandchildren. You're not meant to do that. So I remember thinking I must find out what they meant by spiritual things. And it changed my pursuit of interest.
Very good. So let's fast forward here and see when and if there was a next visit. So fast forwarding through time and space, just drifting through time and space and seeing if there was another visit from these beings. And be there now. And tell me what you notice.
Married,
Married.
and husband is sleeping.
Can you tell me how old you are again here?
22.
Oh, 22. Okay. So you're married, your husband is sleeping. And what's happening with you?
They come in dreams now.
Mm-hmm.
So as not to frighten me
Mm-hmm.
to deep sleep.
So you're slipping back into that dream in this deep state of sleep. And as you slip into that dream state, tell me what you notice is happening.
Feel like I'm arguing with them.
What is it that you're arguing about?
Focus is not where they want me to be focusing upon.
What do they want you to focus on?
Tell me there are two souls coming to me in the form of children.
And what do you say?
One, one will be extremely gifted in science, philosophy, and they tell me, they show me what they will look like.
Mm-hmm.
And the other will be versed in art, artistic, and mathematics and structure. They feel like I am not on the path they want me on, or causes me confusion. had some depression.
Okay.
Feel like I'm letting them down.
Mhm. Why is it that they want these two souls to come in?
Need enhanced offspring
For what purpose?
to move things quickly, quicker,
What is it that they're trying to move quicker?
clarity, awareness, enhanced intelligence.
Tell me what else is happening here in this dream, this confusion and depression that you're feeling like you're letting them down. Why do you feel like you're letting them down?
Not following the path
Mhm.
they outlined for me.
Mhm. Do you have any say in this path?
Yes, that's the argument.
Mhm.
They were not able to control my decisions.
Mhm. So tell me more about the path that they outlined for you. What was the overall look of this path?
Included travel to foreign countries and working
Why was the traveling important?
actions with others like myself or others under some kind of influence.
Is there anything else here important that you're noticing about this dream, this memory?
I just remember telling my husband a few days later the children that were coming to us, described them of what they look like physically
Mhm.
and what we were supposed to support them and what studies to help move them along their path.
Are these children also being influenced by these beings?
I think one,
Mhm.
my son is
Okay.
the eldest. My daughter rebelled against what they were trying to do as well.
All right. So let's close out this memory and drift in time to the next most important memory. Just allowing that to drift away and drifting through time and space to the next most important day and time. Allowing the next most important memory to come forward. I'm being there now. How old do you feel here?
Mid-50s,
Mid 50s. And where are you?
Oregon, right? Napping on the couch in my living room.
And what is happening here as you're napping on your couch?
I rise above my body. I see my body clearly
Mm-hmm.
on the couch. And I'm going higher and higher. Then I realize I'm going to go through the ceiling, and I stop. I'm feeling
What is it that you're feeling here?
conscious of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say no, and I pull myself back down.
Mm-hmm. So as you view this memory from the outside, looking at the memory from the outside in, what do you notice is happening here?
It feels like this is how they do things now, and I refuse.
Mm, okay. So first we saw that they actually visited you in your room. Then they were coming in dreams. And now is it that they're taking you out of your body?
Yes, when I'm sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason I was conscious this time of what was happening
Mm-hmm.
and fought against it.
So what is it that they do? Where is it that they take you when they take you out of your body?
It's, it's like just another time or dimension or some other kind of reality, not in this reality.
What is the purpose of them taking you there?
Fewer distractions can focus more completely on the if I'm in a deeper sleep. It must be very deep. If I become conscious, I refuse.
How often would they take you out of your body unconsciously, where you wouldn't have any memory of it?
Every third year,
Okay. So when they took you out of your body every third year to this other time or dimension, this other space with fewer distractions, what was it that they needed you to focus on?
they are, they show me, they show me, they took me on a raft of some kind. They showed me stones, gems, like specimens under glass or some kind of lighter. Brought me into this room to show me. They were teaching me about energy emanating from different stones and minerals, and they were different than anything I have seen here.
Hmm.
They're some very beautiful.
What did they look like?
Some were the size of my hand or a man's fist. They were rainbows, colored, gave off energy. Some were crystalline, crystal shaped. They were beautiful. I'm not sure why, but this was teaching me about energy and how to feel the energy from others
Why was this important for you to know?
because they had enhanced my energy. So I needed to know how to work with it and how there were very subtle differences in energy everywhere.
How did you feel while you were in this space with them? Did you feel comfortable here?
Yes, I had no fear.
What do these beings look like in this space? What do they look like to you? Can you see them?
Human, humanoid, taller, very slender, kind of a silvery gray.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was not their skin. It was some covering. Their heads seemed distorted, larger.
What do their faces look like?
I didn't like to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
I would look away. Didn't like their eyes.
Tell me about their eyes. What do they look like?
They'd see through you. I didn't like it. Makes you feel very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Do their eyes look like our eyes, like human eyes, or different?
Different,
What color are they?
very dark,
Dark.
very dark,
Very
uneasy feeling.
dark. Mm-hmm. What do you notice about the space that you're in here? What does it look like?
Looks just silver colored. Lights. There's different colored lights highlighting different spaces. It's circular room. It's low. It's not. There's some height to it. Feels uneven, like distorted somewhat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you notice any other beings in this space with you, or just the tall gray ones?
No one else. They're just showing me, wanting me to experience energy from these different stones, rocks, specimens. Some are very extreme.
What do you mean by extreme?
You don't need to touch them to feel them.
What is the feeling like?
Depends on the energy of it. Some of it is can feel like a sensation in your hands that can also feel like it's like a pincushion might feel.
Mm-hmm.
Some are soothing, some more harsh.
And you said that the point of them showing you these stones were to teach you about energy.
Yes.
Is there anything else happening in this space that feels important to know?
Enjoy that experience.
You enjoyed that experience.
Yes.
Very good. Just allowing that memory to close out and fade away. We're going to allow the next most important memory to come forward, drifting through time and space, and asking for the next most important memory to come forward.
Moving me in and out of time or dimensions has caused me fluctuations here and experienced. I think I understand why some of
And allowing this understanding to come forward with ease. And tell me more about how the moving in and out of time and dimensions has affected you, your physical life here as Shay.
can move forward or backwards in time. Some future or past lives as a result of moving me through dimensional time and spaces.
That affected your physical body.
Distress,
It causes distress.
it can,
Mhm.
not all the time, it depends. Recalling,
Just sinking more deeply into that memory and allowing it to come forward easily. What do you notice here?
not past, it's not future. It's happening simultaneously.
What is it that's happening simultaneously?
Lives,
Mm-hmm.
alternate places. It's as if I am plugged and certain characteristics enhanced or missing in alternate realities, which is why I can remember. I can, it's not remembering, it's tapping into just another time and place.
So, for example, the lifetime in World War II, is that one of these simultaneous lives?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so this was a real lifetime that is existing now.
Expired early.
What does that mean?
My age. She was gone, but not deleted.
Gone but not deleted.
Yeah, yeah.
The recall that you had when you were in your 30s, around the same age that she was when she died, is that why you were recalling it at that time?
Yeah, I had a dream. Started off as a dream. And I, it was very disturbing. I remember
Mm-hmm.
it never went away. I woke up to it and I could, it, just more information kept downloading, downloading, downloading. I went to um, another psychic reader, started describing this life with some details that I had already experienced or felt or confirming it. It's a kind of revelation, pulling people in and out of these dimensions enhances one's own ability to do this on, but not purposefully. It ends up just happening.
Pulling this memory forward enhances your soul abilities here. Is that what you're saying?
When I am taken into other from these beings, people are taken not into this dimension, but an alternate dimension. And as a result, it enhances a person's ability to sporadically or simultaneously to move through dimensional time.
Okay.
So alternate realities
Hmm.
are available, whether we perceive it as future or past.
Right. Okay. So because they've taken you out of your body so often through time and dimensions, that enhances your ability to do so spontaneously.
Yes,
Okay.
but not necessarily control.
Right.
This explains the fire, the vision of the fire.
Tell me more about that.
I was napping, living room, and in paradise. It was July 2018, tail end of July. I had a very alternate kind of, I went somewhere else where that I was there. It was a different time, and I was standing on the back porch looking out, and it was extremely real. It was not dreamlike. It was like I was in just another time moving forward in paradise in my backyard. And I saw this woman dressed in a yellow, she had a yellow and orange vest. She was carrying a fire hose, and she was walking along the perimeter of the property against all of these trees. I was startled back, awake, knew that there was a fire that was going to come to paradise, packed up my stuff into the car, drove home my son, and told him of this vision, stayed with him for a week.
Did that happen spontaneously or was that created by these beings?
Warning. They were trying to warn
Hmm.
me. And they tried to warn me again the day before the fire. I noticed the wires through the trees out in the backyard. And this was November 7th. And I called PG&E out to look at it. And they said, put me on a wait list.
So after this event, you started to get downloads and intuitive hits that really accelerated. Why was it that this happened? It kind of opened up your awareness into the darker things of what's going on Earth.
Clarity, purposes, to question all of it, except we had that allowing distractions to impede my ability to see things. I had allowed myself to be deluded, and I needed clarity to move forward.
I wanted to know more about the crop circle incident. Wondering if we can pull that memory forward, just allowing that memory to come forward, drifting back into this memory. And tell me what you notice there.
I didn't want to walk up the hill with everyone. I felt like I was supposed to. stay back. I honored that feeling and was following was an experiment.
Mhm. So let's see exactly what happened here and how that crop circle was formed. I want you to just view that field as if you're watching from above, just kind of hovering over and watching what happens there. How does that crop circle get into the field?
Trying to find words to describe how they do it. If you were to follow a stencil with your pencil, but do it with energy, that's kind of like light energy, light combined with energy. I don't think it's laser, it's something similar. I asked them to do it. I requested it.
So this was done by the same beings that we saw previously?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Mental connection with one of them.
Who is this one that you're connected to?
So I see ZOR
Is this connection made naturally, or is there an implant that allows for this connection?
and fun
Where's this implant located?
behind the inner ear, left side.
Is this something that you still want or need?
I don't like the clicking.
So visualize that implant. Tell me what it looks like.
Palette,
Metallic.
dark, silver, on a dark, like plat, something dark, metal, disc, flat disc, dots on it.
Is this a physical implant or an etheric implant?
Maybe etheric was implanted an alternate reality, astral body.
Mm-hmm. It was implanted in the astral body.
I think so.
Okay. Well, that astral body belongs to you, so you have the right to remove that implant. So I want you to just imagine that you're reaching in there and taking it out.
Put another one. I don't want to go through that again.
Do you want to keep this one, or what do you want to do with it? Okay, let's do this. I want you to connect with the highest part of you, the highest part of you available, your inner knowing, the part of you that is connected to the all that is, that understands everything that has happened in your life and beyond. And I want to know more about, was this connection with these beings agreed upon?
I didn't understand what they were doing it for. So I think I was for.
You were for when they approached you.
Yeah.
And what was the agreement that was made here? What did they
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Wasn't with me. It was with my mother.
hmm,
Oh,
tell me? Taking a nice deep breath.
it wasn't made with me. It was my mother. Made between them. My mother, she couldn't have children. I was part of that agreement, which
So let me see if I understand. So, because your mother couldn't have children, she made a contract with these beings to bring her a child. But then that child, who is you, would then um, be used by them.
That explains why I felt so different from my siblings.
Tell me more about that.
Mother had a upside, her uterus was tipped. So 1950, after 6 years, 5 years of being married with no children, she saw a doctor. This is her story, that she saw a doctor who corrected it. I'm not sure that this was a regular doctor. I think it was someone masquerading as a doctor.
Right?
She had already agreed contractually to it. My mother was very psychic.
Mm.
She had visions.
So, what exactly was the contract here?
She would go through this procedure and she would have her firstborn would correct her ability to have alternate pregnancies.
And how did that affect the children? You specifically, how did that contract affect you as a soul?
The character allows me to rebel.
My character allows me to rebel. Is that what you said?
Yes, but I am still part of a manipulation process.
What was the overall manipulation or the overall goal of this contract in allowing these souls to come in through your mother?
Others are not under a contractual manipulation process. She only agreed to the first.
Firstborn.
They have a thing about firstborns.
Why is the firstborn important?
It goes back into history. The firstborn has the higher propensity for certain genes and DNA, closer to 50-50 from each parent. So there is a stronger genetic relationship between the parents.
Why is that important for these beings?
You get higher and more intense genetic traits and DNA from firstborns. Goes back to biblical times.
So, what was the overall plan for you in your lifetime? What did they want from you?
To complete this project, they gave me the information.
And what was sharing this project? How would that affect people?
If I do it, it may, on one hand, help people emotionally understand, have a higher awareness, but simultaneously, it keeps us here.
How does it do that? How would it keep us here?
We continue to build what they deem karmic ties, which enhances and strengthens our ties to this.
Take a deep breath. You're doing a really good job.
This is the struggle.
Is it true then their overall purpose is to keep us here and tied to earth?
Yes, we energy to that.
Hmm.
They are not able. Also, they're not able to emotionally connect. they can't, but there are others who do, but not them.
Mhm.
The others want to help. I think one, I feel like I've had connection with them too, which may be creating this struggle.
These beings, what is their relation to Earth? Why are they here?
For millennia,
Mhm.
they have done this with various Earth-like species, Earth-like species that they bring were experiments.
Hmm.
Energy, it's always about feeding off of our energy.
Okay, so
We have emotional capacity to emit strong energy. They're not able to do that. So they feed, they need our energy. They have tried another species who can emit emotion. They have tried unsuccessfully. Humans are easier to manipulate through fear. This other species, they have controlled that fear. They've dissipated, so they cannot manipulate them. There's been struggles over thousands of years.
so would it be true to say that these beings are in control here?
They do control a healthy portion of humanity. There are other species. One species that they bring understanding and empathy. The others, they cannot feel, but they are attracted to humanity.
If they wanted to control humanity through fear, that's their ultimate goal. Why is it that they would encourage you or push you into subjects of spirituality and consciousness? What is their goal with that?
In order to manipulate, truth must always be part of illusion or falsehood.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So unless you are able to know the difference and use critical thought to understand the difference, to feel the difference, they exploit created religious doctrine and spirituality almost simultaneously to create confusion. But truth must be there also embedded.
So this is kind of what we see is happening now with all the confusion that Shay was feeling and the confusion in the collective in general that is being generated. Now that you see the truth here of these beings, are you ready to withdraw that contract that was made with them?
Yes,
Good. We need to go ahead and visualize that contract and tell me what you notice.
connected to my children.
All of them?
What will they do to close this down? How will that impact my children? How?
Okay, just take a nice deep breath. Shay, I'm going to check in with Karen. Just rest right there. Just taking a nice deep breath. What are you noticing, Karen?
Um, Yeah, I validate everything that she saw. Before she even talked about her mother, I saw her come in earlier too about some kind of medical procedure that felt very fishy to me.
Mhm.
Um, the beings right away when we had landed at the 4-year-old memory, um, it's like the what do you call it? The shapes, the lights that were coming into the room were pretty much the inside of a ship.
Mhm.
That were coming in. Right away, I felt like that energy of Ashtar, like the whole GFL energy was just bombarding the whole session. I was being attacked.
Mhm.
Um, Multiple places. I felt before she even said it, like that thing in her eye, the thing in her ear, like I was seeing them, like I was feeling them in my field.
Mhm.
I understand like how with the mother, sorry, just going back to that, the procedure that was done was as if like they had used or created Shay almost as if in a hybrid sense via the, I guess, the energy of Ashtar.
Mhm.
There was some kind of emergence in order to get the energy or the mesh intermeshing or mingling with human DNA. That being said, all her gifts and her abilities are real and hers. They just were able to implant to bring it up, boost it.
Right.
So, and I felt like at different parts of her life, like she said 4 years old, 12 years old around puberty, 22 around when she got married, or like, like different parts. It's just like as if it's like a cycle ending.
Mhm.
Um, and my understanding also, even when I was seeing the imprinting in the field and everything like that, yeah, they we've seen this too with other clients and how energies are able to hook into true source players and are able to use their um, manifesting powers in order to allow things to be created here. Um, and when she was talking about dimensions, there are different versions of the Galactic Federation that are of the future, let's say, that are AI induced, those that are a little more in the clunkier days, like with those other types of ships, like different eras. I think that's why like they're coming in at different phases.
Mhm.
Like because I could see them as in a more like advanced sense of an AI, and then there are other versions of themselves that are a little older, if you will, like,
Mhm.
but they're different dimensions, and the only reason why they're um able to exist in different dimensions is because of yeah, hooking themselves into people um who have the same like abilities or the same type of things like Shay, using their psychic abilities and bringing in their frequencies to the way I see it in terms of the frequencies is they're able to use their creation abilities and then weaving into the dimension, into the matrix, into whatever things, like when she was talking about the rocks or the crystals or the stones,
Mhm.
the only way to have access is through a source player so that they
Access
can,
to
so
what?
that like through like the power of the stones, for
Mhm.
example, through the power of, like bringing in information, it's through the source players bringing in their frequency. And so like everything that she's saying in which like, like they're manipulating, they have to bring some truth because they're fossilite. They have to bring some of it, but then there's corruption in the frequencies in the message. So she could totally undo that and create a message that doesn't have anything to do with them.
Right.
They're trying to infiltrate her message, or for example, like so that they can easily weave in to humanity. And that's what you're seeing now, how the GFL are infiltrating the love and light, let's say the people there. That's how you could see that there's a lot of things that are happening, and now why we're more in the age of the AI GFL, because it's moving in that direction. but they've been here for eons, like she was saying. It's just that they're coming in through different dimensions using the people so that they can infiltrate the different dimensions. So when they're able to pull her to different dimension, it's purposeful so that they can have access to that dimension.
Oh, because they can't access it without her.
Right, exactly. They're using humans or people that have the ability, like the source energy, like the true creator energy, to infiltrate.
So,
this is why I did not want to go with them that day in Rogue River. And I pulled my soul or my astral body back down in defiance, which surprised them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. I think that's why over time, like if you're getting physical issues, there's an exchange there by being contracted to them. It's like they're able to take your source, your spark, in exchange of your health. Let's say, like it's like so that they give you a little, they take a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see like how your part of you is in resistance, but because they blast you with that good feeling sometimes, like in the beginning, like with that's the false light and how it feels great, but they're also trying to mask themselves. Like when I was seeing that specific moment with the 4-year-old, they were literally in the shadows. Like you could see there was 4 beings that I saw that were I saw all the beautiful lights that were happening. You were in a complete trance.
mm-hmm.
And you see these 4 beings and exactly how she described them. Like they were just there, but they were as if like, yeah, having like an in-house abduction.
Right. And they put her in a trance to convince her that they're good and they're trying to enhance her abilities, which they probably are because they're using them for themselves.
Yes, they have the technology to do so, but these are already abilities that you have without them. That's why you're able, like everything that you're saying about like, seeing you that, whatever happened in World War II, completely valid. Like tapping into that, absolutely. That's real. What
Fire.
else was there? The fire, yeah. Those are things like premonitions or things like ability to see are truly hers. It's just that they take advantage of that or use that, and allow for, those kind of like disasters to come to the forefront because it keeps her in a space, the body or the human part in a space of worry and paranoia, like in the background. Yeah. So it's controllable, easy to control.
Yes.
So they could control her in that way energetically.
Mm-hmm. Can you view what is the connection here with these contracts and her children?
I just see that it's just like a thing, kind of like what happened with the mom, the contract there that went into her, and then using like as an extension of her into her offspring or her children, like just via the connections. And then that way it's like they have access to them so that they can use their natural abilities or their divine spark for their own usage, and so on and so forth through their children, etc.
Right. So what would be the ramifications for her children if she were to burn that contract today?
I could see like, that I still feel as if like even if she were to burn that, they would still pose as a potential. There's always a potential in the opening for them to, it would burn her contract that, got them into it, but they could have their own contracts, for example. You know what I mean? Like it's separate from her.
Right. Okay.
So we could burn what's hers and set the intention to burn again, like if they're all relative to this GFL stuff.
Can you see, because a lot of her children are, several of her children are struggling, especially the females. Can you see what is the ramification of these contracts on them?
It feels as if like the same energy, like how she carries the worry. It's in there, and so manifesting it because they're manifestors. They all have the manifesting abilities, and they're just being used by these energies to manifest for them.
Right. So there's not any real benefit to these contracts. It would only allow them to be more sovereign and call back their life force energy.
Yes, it would recall for them on their part to try to, because they're trying to program the subconscious into staying in a state of worry. So it would be work on their part to get themselves out of the state of worry, to be more in presence and to stop jumping, future stuff, to try to be like the practice presence, like in order to heal the body too, because it's in a state of fight or flight.
Right. But energetically, they would no longer be tied to this group.
No, they would not be tied. However, the point of vulnerability is in that, like, hooking into the mind, the subconscious. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Shay. Are you ready to burn this contract for yourself? Or is there anything else that you need to know or see before we do that?
And burn it. I've been fighting them anyway.
I know you have. I know you have. So go ahead and do that. What do you notice when you burn that contract? I want you to call forward also any and all hidden contracts or subcontracts related to any of these groups.
See 5 of them.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and burn those.
I've already done
that. Okay.
Good one.
Very good.
This explains so much.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the implant in your ear? Are you ready to release that?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and take that out as well. What do you notice as you take that
out? That's a relief.
Beautiful.
It's in my astral body.
Yeah. I want you to scan through the rest of your body and notice if there are any other areas, any other implants. Just noticing any areas that call your attention.
I think I had an implant that I got rid of in the physical body. It was in my right hand and in this portion of my finger.
Okay.
And I ended up getting rid of that.
Okay. I want you to scan through your eyes. Tell me if you notice anything there. Or you can scan too. Notice any implants or devices.
Astral body with my eyes.
What do you notice there?
I told them that I didn't want to see them. So they did something to decrease my eyesight in my astral body, which impacts this physical body.
Yeah, of course. What is it that they did to your eyes here?
See a disc.
Mm-hmm. What does it look like?
It's that flat disc,
Mm-hmm.
circular, with programmed into almost like a record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see lines, circular concentric lines.
Mm-hmm. What is it
Down.
programmed?
It's just programmed to diminish my eyesight.
Okay. Go ahead and remove that.
They're hard to destroy.
You can do it. You're a creator being. You're an alchemist.
Zapped them.
Very good. Now I want you to bring in some healing energy into the ear and into the eyes. Healing that eye space from any damage that was done. And while you're doing that, calling back all of your life force energy, all of your divine spark energy from these beings. Seeing all of that energy coming back to you now, coming back into the body. Calling all of that life force energy back to you. It belongs to you. You have dominion over it. What do you notice as you call that back to you?
Coming back in a circular motion in my solar plexus.
Mm-hmm.
Hard shot. Oh, okay.
How is your body feeling?
Exhausted.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to know, clear, heal, or release today?
No, it all fits like pieces of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. What about your project moving forward? Any insight on what to do with that?
Yes, I'm going to channel the information based on some preliminary research, but I'm not going to do what I originally had planned to do. That would have been corruptive. It would have been confusing. And people would not have understood it.
So do you feel like you have more clarity?
Yes.
Very good. Now I want you to take that life force energy, your newly retrieved life force energy that came back into your heart. I want you to begin expanding that throughout your entire body. Feeling that life force energy expanding into all of those spaces. Filling up all the cells of the body. Expanding all the way up to your head and all the way down to your toes. Feeling that life force energy infusing into your entire body. Is now available for healing and extending that out into your field, creating a solid bubble of protection around you, sealing in any cracks, holes, or tears in your arm, solidifying that protection, feeling all of your energy and consciousness returning into the physical form. All of your energy and consciousness is returning to you now.